anywhere in the Orient, fly the shortest, fastest way, northwest. Northwest Great Circle Shortcut saves you 1,800 miles to the Orient. And only Northwest gives you one airline service to the Orient, direct from Cleveland. So fly the shortest, fastest way to the Orient.
The history of all editing cuts and transitions begins with the jump cut. You can find it when the editor cuts between the same shot in order to show the passing of time. Naturally found in a montage, they are usually used to also add urgency to the scene. And that looks like this. However, the jump cut breaks down the scenes mostly to simplify the action and save time. This way helps create different meanings using different types of the set and frame. The use of the jump cut that we have today became generalized earlier in time through a movement called the French New Wave. From a group of filmmakers that began to experiment ways of editing, the pioneers of this movement, Godard, Romet, Truffaut and Chabrol, normalized editing techniques that today are standardized in the industry. However, what really defines the French New Wave?
They were experimenting with different forms. So you have lots of interesting camera angles shot together, or say for the start of 400 Blows, you have a very long travelling shot with an interesting kind of perspective and a point of view. With Breathless, first Godard film, it's famous for supposedly introducing or inventing the jump cut, but it was actually a mistake.
Because Godard's original cut of the film didn't include jump cuts. It wasn't up until another French filmmaker, Jean-Pierre, suggested to Godard editing out any unnecessary slow scenes. This led to the famous jump cut technique we see in this film and other productions today, Breathless becoming the leading example of the French New Wave style, by breaking the rules and continuity of mainstream filmmaking at that time. Nevertheless, the original fault that led to the creation of the jump cut and many more transitions is credited to Georges Méliès, a professional magician who saw a lot more potential into the early days of cinema. In the fall of 1889, he was in Paris shooting a bus coming out of a tunnel, when the camera jammed in the middle of the take. Developing the film, he discovered the bus turned into a hearse right there on the screen, creating for the first time what we call now the jump cut. This discovery was put to use right away, using jump cuts in his new films to create disappearing and reappearing effects. Later through his work, he was able to introduce more editing devices such as fade in, fade out, overlapping dissolve, and stop motion photography. Méliès became the father of the jump cut. He pushed the films from an all single action shots into narrative driven stories with innovative editing techniques.